Alrighty, thank you for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and today I am doing a project. I am going to take all of my camera equipment and I'm going to put it into this case. Now, this case is where I normally have it anyway. It all fits in there. I have a lot of my camera equipment in this bag here, and then my new action cam, I made a nice little case for it out of a Dollar Tree tin. But what I'm going to do is take all my stuff and set it up nicely. This is my action cam equipment right here. Right there is all my action cam equipment. My JVC camcorder that I no longer really use a lot because the screen is messed up. It still works, it's just I can't see anything. But there's the camera, the batteries, some cordage that goes along with it, and that's a reader that I used to use, and I still do on occasion. There's little earpieces. I have some bungees which I use to strap my cameras to the trees and things, some cordage and zip ties for the same purpose, a little hand stick that I use on occasion. There's my tripod which I use, and then that graphite rod which I have a Dollar Tree selfie stick on. Then here's a plastic peanut butter jar which I keep my underwater casing and my regular casing with some batteries in. This here, batteries of course, duct tape, and some hook and loop fasteners. I have a converter that goes into my vehicle. I have some light sources, and is well, actually I guess you don't see, but this right here is a Dollar Tree light, which you can see right here is another one. And I actually had to attach this to the front of this bloggy because I accidentally broke the light on the bloggy. So anyway, and there's my trail cam, and that goes along with me as well. So what I'm going to do is get right back with you and we'll talk a little bit more. Okay, now here is some green foam, high density foam, which I purchased at a local craft store, which I probably should have waited. I could have got it cheaper at Wally World, but anyway, this foam I am going to fit inside here. Then I'm going to cut the foam to make places for all this equipment to sit, make it more organized. Right now it's kind of just all jumbled up in there. So I will get all this stuff picked up, I'll get the foam set out, and we'll begin this little project. Alrighty, so I've got the first piece of sponge marked. That's the case size, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Alrighty, so I have the sponge in there. I've got one in the bottom, I've got one at the top. I only used one. I'm going to try to get away with just using one. But this is where the bloggy will go. Right here is the space for this camera. So basically this is how it's going to set up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut spaces for each one of those. And then they'll sit nice and cozy in there. And then when I close the case, the top part should adhere enough to keep them from moving around, and we'll get back with you when I get a little bit more done. Alrighty, so I've got the first row. I've got my JVC camera. That's where the bloggy goes. There's my action cam with its battery, and they sit in there, and then this is just gonna close down over top and seal up nice. I'm thinking this is going to work out really well, so I continue on and I'll get back with you on another update here real quick. Alrighty, I went ahead and sketched out the other pieces that I'll be using to store in here. And also I'm going to have to find a place to put all of my cords and everything. There's a lot of stuff that isn't going to fit in here, but this is my camera equipment that I'm going to take out in the field with me. Alrighty, so here's the case with all of my pieces in it. Except for, of course, that's where the bloggy goes. It sits right there. And what I'm going to do is close this up, walk around a little bit, see if it works well, and then I'll get back with you and let you see what it looks like when I open it up. Alrighty, so I'm back. It works really well. If anything, maybe these move around a little bit. I mean, not a horrible, but nothing moves, nothing comes out. I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to put my wires in there, though. I'm going to have to figure out some way of carrying those. I was thinking about maybe putting them up in here somehow, or maybe just, because this comes out, maybe setting them, like maybe cutting out a spot here, but I don't know. I'll figure something out with the wiring, and then I'll get right back. Alrighty, so I figured out how to add those cords. I took out the reader and from right here and replaced it over here, and I took out all of my memory cards, which was here, and I put it over here, and then there's room for the cords. So now I have cables for my action cam, and these are the cables for my JVC camera, and right here is the cable for my reader. So other than some other items, I have my remote control. Let's just head over there real quick. So I've still got several things. I have these two little items here, which I purchased. I have one in my van. They're little sticky things, and then you stick this little item into here, and it holds my camera. It holds my VHS camera. But I haven't used these lately because that camera is not working very well. But I still have them available. Zip ties, I use those. This item right here goes on the top of my tripod, and this item here is part of my selfie stick, which I don't ever use because I generally don't use a camera, and this doesn't really fit my bloggy too well. I have an adapter that goes into the vehicle. Batteries, bunch of batteries. I have some of those hook and loop fasteners, some duct tape, my bungees, and some cordage. There's a light here. There's several more lights over there. Some zip ties. I have a pair of earplugs, which I have mainly for here in the house when I'm sitting and watching videos when everyone else is trying to watch something else. Cord that hooks up to something. I know I use it, but I'm not sure what it goes to at this moment. This attaches to my bloggy. This came with my SD card. It's a mini SD card. When I purchased the action cam, or I should say when my wife purchased it for my birthday. But when it was purchased, this was what was in the SD card. This is a remote control for that action cam, which I've never used. I don't know, I just never have come up with an instance where I needed it. And this is another attachment to my action cam. Now those items will just go into a bag, and I'll just go ahead and carry that bag along with me. But I definitely am glad that I have my whole setup in there. Once again, here's my setup now. I can carry this along with me out in the woods, and I don't have to worry as much about dropping stuff, at least not while I'm using it, or at least while it's being stored, I should say. While I'm using it, that's a different story. But here's my trail cam and batteries for my camcorder and my camcorder. That's where the Bloggy goes. There's cordage for my camcorder, and there's my attachment that I usually use, a strap around my waist or chest. It's supposed to be a head cam, but I don't wear a helmet. And there's my SD card reader. And then up here we have my action cam along with the battery, and there's the cordage for that. I have my SD cards here, and I'll go ahead and take these out real quick. And there's all my SD cards that I have. I make sure I have several. There's my waterproof container for my action cam, and there's a piece that goes onto that. It's used for a bicycle, I believe is what it was. Yeah, it's supposed to attach to a bicycle, but that's how I attach it here to my waterproof camera case, and then I attach it to a selfie stick. So there we are. Get that shut back up, stuck back in there. So this is now going to be my case when I go out filming. Thanks for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcraft, and enjoy the outdoors, even if it's just your own backyard.